I am, and I was, born in Lakeside. Not born in Lakeside. I was born at Woodland Park across the street from Woodland Park. That was a big swamp when I was born. And I went from there to Lakeside, and I lived in Lakeside the rest of my life. I went to school in Lakeside, and when I started in school in Lakeside, there was only, I think, 8 kids. And when I graduated from Lakeside, there was 24 kids in there. I watched Lakeside build, and I've seen it build. Then I left, and I went to Seattle. I worked in Seattle in a service station, and I come back to Montana, and I stayed in Montana for about a year, and then I went to Wyoming, and I got in the field of building oil derricks. I built them, and I worked as a rig builder for, I say 10, 15 years. And then in the meantime, when I left Kalispell to go to Cody, Wyoming, was where I lived, I went in there, and I was broke. I went into the cafe there, and I told this guy, I said, I'm hungry and I have no money. I got a nickel. And I said, I'll do whatever I can for a meal. And he said, sit down. And he gave me a great big meal. Now I said, go wash dishes back there, and I did. And he put me to work. He said, do you want to go to work? And I said, I got to eat. Okay. He said, I'll give you your food and $2 a day. That was my wages. And it cost $1 a day for a hotel room. And that's where I stayed there, and I worked there. I worked there quite a while as a waitress. And then from there I went in and went out as a pipe fitter, and I didn't like that. And I went as a roughneck, and I didn't like that. I looked over and seen the rig builders over there building. I told them, I said, I'm going to go do that. And they said, you can't do that. You're too little. And I don't know if I want, well, I do want to brag. I became the fastest rig builder in the western United States. They shipped in crews from California and from Oklahoma and all these oil fields trying to keep up with me, and they couldn't do it. There's only one time was an old fella that could do it. He could keep up with me. And I had to ask him, I said, hey, why do you so much faster than I am? Or not faster, but could keep up with him. He said, it's real simple. He said, I pull all the bolts on the right hand down and push all the bolts on the left hand up. Now turn around to get at them to do it. And that doubled my speed, and they never had a chance. And I did that for years. Then I come up here, I helped build the radio tower that's out there now. I helped tear down the old one there. I built radio towers in Salt Lake City. I built them in Billings. And I was the first iron worker out on the aluminum plant. All there was a Quonset hut on the side of a building, not on the side of the building, up on the mountain. And I worked there until they had they shut it down on account of the union. And then I went from there, and I tended hook on the High Line on Hungry Horse Dam, and I've done that. And I don't know how far to go with this, because there's so many things that I could say, and it sounds like a bragging situation, but it isn't. The Lord gave me the ability to see things that other people couldn't see. They transferred me down in when I was not rig building, when I was working in the dam, of helping them putting in the keyway for the outfits, and they was working there trying to get it done, and they couldn't do them because they couldn't hold them right. I told the foreman, I said, I can fix this so it would be simple. Oh, no way could you. So I went down and said, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And I went down to the machine shop, And I had him ask the guy, I said, do you know what a turnbuckle is? Oh yeah, I know what turnbuckles are. I said, I want a turnbuckle 6 inches long that would with points on the ends of it. And I said, I want 6 of them. So they went and got the turnbuckle. A couple of days later, the guy come up and said, Darrel, he said, your turnbuckles are ready down here. And I brought them up, and they showed them how to use them to make it, and put the grease on top of the weight. They weighed 6 tons apiece. Put the grease on the top of them, and those turnbuckles, you just move anything, any way, no vibration or nothing. And they used those the rest of the way through the dam, all the way. And I've seen a lot of things. I talked to an old boy. He was a heater on the, well, he was a friend of mine, actually. He was a heater on the drive for heating rivets. He taught me how to drive, not to drive rivets, but heat rivets. And I was watching them. When I was coming off down across the dam, I stopped and watched them down there driving rivets. And the cableway was working, so I didn't have to work. And I turned around and walked away, and I hadn't gone, a quarter of a length of the dam, and here come the other rig builder, or not rig builder, but hook tender. And I said, he was running. I said, what happened? Oh, he said, the heater went in the hole. And he must have turned around right when I walked away and fell over 100 and some feet into the concrete down there. And anyhow, that was one incident. And another one, the Lord has protected me beyond anybody's belief. We're standing on the catwalk. Now, the natural thing, if somebody hollers, you step forward. Something hit me in the chest like this and pushed me back like that. There was a she-bolt wrench that's about 18 inches long, made out of half-inch plate, that went click by my hat and just went across below my toes. And if I'd have moved forward, it draped it over my hard hat and killed me deader than that. But my life has been one time after another where the Lord had saved me, and I mean saved me, all the way down the line. Wow, that's and and one thing I've always had was the ability to look ahead, to see what was going to happen before it happened, or to be, if you made up your mind you wanted to do something, to start doing it.
God has blessed you greatly.
Oh, beyond belief. Beyond belief, that God has been my, I have a lifesaver, and she's protected me beyond. I put her to work. See, all the time. I mean, I've done everything, and God, when I have learned one thing that everybody should know about God, and that if you ask, really ask, I mean from your heart, your mind, and your body, for something, God will take care of it. You can't just say a minimum prayer that I'm doing this and doing this and this, and please do it, and that's done. That ain't it. You have to have it and take it in.
So, Darrel, you're 91 years old, right?
Right. Will be 91.
Will be 91. And
yeah.
You recently purchased some land, is that correct?
Right.
Well, that's a pretty big undertaking for anyone, especially someone 90 years old. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I had to put in water, sewer, power, move my trailer in, set it up, build a 24 by 36 foot shop, and get it all so I get in out of the weather and all of that in a little over 6 weeks.
Wow. You know, you're such a positive person in this negative world. How are you able to be so positive?
I guess I became positive because I don't really know. I really couldn't tell you why I'm so positive outside. I know that if I ask the Lord to show me a way to go, something will show up. It always does. Like this piece of land I bought. Me and a friend were driving down the road, Viola in fact, and here was a little sign about the size of that board you got in your lap. And it said land for sale. I turned around, I went on by, I thought that was a joke. That's a great big 4-acre piece of ground for somebody to sell right out here. Now this is between Willow Glen and Collier Lane. And that's prime property. And so anyhow, she said, well, you ought to go back and look at it. So I said, all right, I'll turn around and went back and looked at it. And it was all broke up into 4 units. And I thought, well, I can build my home there. And so I bought that piece. And the real estate broker said, the rest of that's for sale too. So I made an offer on it. I got it. So I got it the whole piece in one chunk.
Wow.
And I knew that it could be built. It could be made into a beautiful home. And it can be, and it will be built into a beautiful home.
So today's society doesn't seem to value the older generations. They think when you're over the hill you have less value. What do you think about that?
I think it's stupidity. And that's a fact, because you take an older person, like myself, for instance. I can tell you stuff, how to do things that they have no idea how to do. The younger generation has no imagination, for one thing, and no desire. They have nothing to look forward to because they don't look ahead. They think an old man's an old man and he's crippled and he can't walk, but he's still got the brain that he was born with. You just ask for that brain, that man will help you. And he always will, because he knows what he's talking about. They don't think he does. Just because he's got a set of canes or he's in a wheelchair or something like that. But the ability to do things the kids have never learned. And the thing is that it's bad for the parent. They never taught him. Like anything else. You learn how to move a chair. You learn how to move a couch. You learn how to use your head to move that easy. And I don't know, there's a word for it and I can't think of it, where you learn how to think, how to use your mind, how to... They always said, there is a saying, that if you want something done, easy, ask a lazy man. That's how come they come to me. I didn't go to school. I mean, I went to school. I wasn't the brightest kid in the lot, but there is and was a lot of things. My wife and I remodeled 11 houses in 12 years, and I held a job on top of that for 8 hours a day. And I'd come home at night, and she'd been doing painting, or she'd been doing this and that and getting it done. I bought a house on 6th Avenue West that they had sat on stuff, piers and stuff like that, and the ground had frozen shut on both sides of the house and shrunk it, and here sat that house. I bought that, and I took my backhoe and I dug down the full length of that house, that side of it, and then I braced it up and took a jacks and pushed that back into position, locked it up there, did the same to the other side. And my brother-in-law and I were down in the bottom of that house, and we'd strung a string off and cut all the posts down so it was level. And it was noon. We said, well, let's go. When we turned around and started walking away, and the jack, like that, and hit the far wall. That whole house come down, or boom, right on top of this timbers we had there, and I'm telling you, it fell a good 2 feet to come down. It had a set of bat ring doors upstairs. You could hear them bat ring doors go prut, 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 upstairs. It straightened every door and every window in that house when it come down. Darners, you wouldn't believe. And dust, holy smokes, you wouldn't believe the dust. But we have done, and my wife and I have done things unbelievable. And I've invented things that's unbelievable. One thing that I invented that I had that's on the market now. I didn't get credit for it. I invented it, and you've probably seen them, the open-jawed wrench that's got the short jaw on one side. I invented that, and that makes that wrench be like a ratchet. You don't have to take it clear off. You just back it up and it'll ratchet itself in. I invented that back in the 40s. And I had a spud wrench for rig building, and I made mine for that. Somebody stole that spud wrench and sold it to Prudhoe, sold the idea to Prudhoe. And the thing that, and I invented an extendable extension for a socket set that'll start at 12 inches and go to 23 inches, every half inch, and locked, and you can use it. And I've make them 8 inches and they'll go to 12 inches. I invented that and set up a factory. And the fact is, the bank, when it burnt down, the people back in it lost a lot in that and dropped it there. But different things that I have done that the average person, because I had the faith and the thought and the idea, and I'd chase them. If I had something that was a good idea, and right now I'm have designed, and I know you have, and he has, all of us have, I've got a hold of a paper cup that was too hot, and it burnt you. I've invented a handle for that pot, for that cup. You got a handle for that paper cup.
Wow.
Simplest thing, huh?
The stories you can tell after 90 years.
Yeah,
you know?
and the stories I can tell you of just keeping for the Lord saving my life would scare you.
Tell more of those.
I was working on a tower one time, and we was up I think about 124 feet, and when all of us would do the same thing. They had a niggerhead on an old Buick car, and that's how they pulled the iron up, you know. Well, it was noon, so I tied a bowline on the thing, and I was going to step off over the outfit and go down, and let him let me down. And I hadn't put the rope over the top of between the two boards. And a guy insisted, put that bit there, and I said, nah, I'm going to go down. No, you should put it through there. So I put it through there. I started down, and I was free fall after I got off. And the gin pole was 10 feet high above there. And down I went. I reached, and I looked down, and there was a piece of iron about about a foot wide, and I knew that I was going to hit that, and my mind never quits working. And I thought, should I hit it with my feet together, or should I spread them apart? Because I know I'm going to drive my legs right up through my body. And and I thought about that, and I tried to catch myself and couldn't do it. It was a free fall, I mean. And I looked down at the rig, and it was still, the guy was set as far as holding me was concerned. And I looked up, and a kid up there was down on his hands and knees, and he had both ropes clamped, and I come to a halt. Not from him doing it, but I had fell 20 feet in that length of time and scared my brother. He was as white as that magazine. It didn't bother me. And I've been close to death, I bet you 20 times, 10 times for certain. And it didn't bother me. I know what's there. I know when I die, I'm not scared of dying. And it just, and even living, you live day at a time. You have something set ahead of you on down the line. I have things set ahead of me right now that would scare most people, wouldn't even try it. Yeah. And that's the way I live on down the line.
Darrel, what do you think is the key to a happy life? What do you think the key to a good life?
Your belief just, I guess, really your belief in God and your belief in yourself, for one thing. I've been broken bones. I've broke every bone in my body. I've had bad times, but the thing is, I've seen people that should never have ever been on a wheelchair or been on cane or nothing like that, because I can show you right here. See that hand? I cut that ulnar nerve right here. They said that hand would never be, it was like that, and it'd never work. Now there, you can see the hand is working. The only thing that hand will do, it won't put this finger back where it belongs, but you can close it, it would do it. I started whittling with left hand with a carving between my knees when I started whittling. And when I took my arm out of a sling this way, that hand had shriveled up and was pretty near dead right there on half of that hand. And I made it work. I made it work. And your whole body's that way. I've crushed that ankle, and I've got pins in my ankles. I've broke my kneecap right square in half. Oh, just various things. But the thing is, I know myself, and I know that God will heal your body. But you got to know that He'll heal it. You can't say, oh man, I'm in tough shape and the Lord ain't helping me. The Lord will help you. You got to help yourself.
That's right.
And that's the whole thing I got to say.